Welcome everybody. So yeah, people are joining. So welcome for today's UX talk. So we have very interesting speaker today. So before we start, just quickly let's talk about what is UX talk. There are some new participants are also here. UX talk is basically a we started community platform to discuss about UX, to spread knowledge about UX. So we are today in a season 3. Past we have very various interesting speaker. We discuss a lot of unique topics regards to design field and UX itself. Uh, So same series is continuing. Season 3, there are very interesting topics are lined up, speakers are lined up. Hopefully, you will enjoy these topics and you like the topics and speakers they are discussing. So UX talk is not a this kind of a discussion we do with regards to design field and uh, we try to gain knowledge out of this. But purpose of UX talk is uh, see, I personally believe everyone's journey is very interesting, and regards to that, whenever you saw or hear about stories about someone who's professionally established, and so then everyone's journey is giving us inspiration, and that is the idea behind UX talk. Uh, so, uh, yes, welcome once again. This is UX Talk Season 3. I am Tushar Deshmukh. I am a founder and CEO of UX Expert. It's a company where we do design development, but UX is a prime skill set we do. We work with various technologies, but UX is a core skill, and we give us UX services. Also, I'm a director for UX By Training Lab. It is a platform where it is for mentoring I do regards to UX and user research, user psychology. So I think that is good enough for me. So today we have uh, Mary-Aude is our speaker. So I welcome Mary. So you can turn on video now. Yeah. Yeah. So welcome, Mary. Thanks for joining and given us your time for UX community. Uh, so Mary is so eventually we will introduce because today is very interesting topic, and uh, I hope you will find this info whatever experience she is going to share us uh, very inspirational for all of us, and uh, let's start. Okay. Uh,
Thank you, Tushar. Thank you very much. Nice to be here and very glad that you invited me. I don't seem to be able to start my video. Let me see.
Yes.
No, it's right. Wonderful. Hi, everyone.
Hello. After so yes, so we have Mary. So she is a user researcher, but it is interesting. Her journey is very very unique, and I think today's topic was also same. That from where you start is not important. What you are doing currently is very important. So nowadays, what happened? UX is someone everybody is now trying to learn UX or they want to make a career in UX. There are people who starting their career. They have a lot of questions: how to start, where to start. Uh, there are many people they are from a different backgrounds and they want to enter into UX field. And to discuss this, I think you are the correct person because you are also have very different background. Uh, so Mary has total, I think, 15 plus years of experience. She started with a very different background as a, I think, in marketing field. She will talk more about that. But later on, she uh, done UX and user research. She's founded User Wizard as a platform for mentoring and everything. So we'll talk about that also. She's also associated with the University of Strasbourg in Germany. So there also she was very actively participating in various courses and so let's start. So we can very first question, typical question, which I also like. So how you start, how you start your journey, and you can tell us about yourself, and you can begin with that question. Over to you.
Sure, absolutely. So as you mentioned, exactly, I'm a UX researcher, and I'm also the founder of the UX career mentoring program and platform, User Wizard. And the reason why I started this is because I'm myself a career switcher to UX. I transitioned to UX after a career in marketing. But in fact, UX was for me my third career because I started my career in the hotel industry. So I transitioned from the hotel to hospitality to marketing, and from marketing to UX. And I obviously learned quite a few things during this journey. And when I started my career in UX, I started also a UX community, which is the UX Research Guild in Zurich, where I'm currently working. And I got to know quite a few people who are trying to enter the field of UX. And they came to me with a few questions like, how did you do this? Which background do you have? What did you study? And I realized that everyone had the same question. And after a while, we created a group, a small community, and the community grew, and we developed a program. I'm not alone in there. We are 25 mentors, advisors. We have people from very different backgrounds, and that's very key to the program, actually, which is really to cover not only the methodological aspect of it and the whole range of the UX industry, like research, design, writing, but also the the ability to apply and the employability part of it. So we work with recruiters, we work with hiring managers, and we try to help people ease the journey into UX, actually.
Okay, great. So how was it was, coming from a different background, and that too, I think marketing and it's very different background. But when you start, this, as a exploring UX industry and everything. So, and today also many people have these questions, whenever they go for interviews. And uh, so even companies also don't know what to do in UX. So as you know, you enter in this, how you tackle these questions. Basically, uh, many there is expectations or industries are different. You bringing your own experience as a differently. There is a UX, there is a UI, and what is your take on this kind of a questions?
You mean how do we, when we come as a career
Yes.
switcher to UX, how we
Mhm.
introduce ourselves to the field?
Right. Right.
Well, my learning throughout the journey has been that, like many other people, when I started, I thought that my best take would be at trying to learn everything, to know everything, to be a bit of a generalist, what I call the UX unicorn, the one who knows how to design and to prototype and touches a bit of UI design too, and do research and wants a little bit of coding. And I realized very quickly that that would not help me to reach my goal, because in fact, with so little experience, the chance that you're actually good at that is quite limited. And my learning was that by identifying what I'm really good at and focusing on that, I had a better chance to actually get the job that I wanted. And that's why I chose to specialize in UX research. And that's what I encourage people to do. And that's literally a framework that works. Like, find out what you're really good at and don't try to fit a very broad expectation and skill set, because this is not realistic. It takes decades to get to the state where you can actually be a generalist. And there are so-called UX unicorns, but they're like in mythology, it's literally something very, very rare. So you have a better chance to actually make a match with a job offer by being unique and building on the skill set that you have.
All right. I think you have, it was very interesting term, UX unicorns. So, what do you think? Many people are like that kind of, so they should, I will do research, I will do prototyping. Sometimes, I also do HTML. So that kind of a weird combinations. In fact, companies are also some point of, they want unicorns. That is, the use correct term. But see, as a being a non-design, I'm not a trained designer. Okay, like then if that guy or that person, he or she want to explore this thing. So when you started that kind of a questions, and as you correctly said, you should focus on one thing and then you build that. So there also you selected as a user researcher, right? So why only then you start as a user researcher? So whether your marketing experience, you want to use that experience, or it is good, or you like as a researcher activity.
So different reasons. Just to also put this into the context of my career transition, I started with studying HCI and I did a class in interaction design. So I literally covered the basics and I got a foundational knowledge of the field. And I tried to do a bit of design and I even coded a little bit because it was part of the degree that I studied back in the time. And I explored different possibilities, but very quickly I realized that research was something, first, I may just be more talented for that. And I had also previous experience because, and that's the really interesting thing, when you look back at your career and when you really go very deep into an introspection and like scan the skill set you have and what you've learned, what experience you've done in the past, you might identify a few skills that you can transfer. There may be some transferable skills. In my case, having worked in the hotel industry, I was actually designing experience for people. I was at the front desk of the hospitality. It means that I was literally in charge of customer relationship. I was in charge of company accounts, so I was literally handling customers. Then in marketing, I was also in charge of understanding the trends, the needs, the frustration, the expectation of our clients. So before I even knew it, I was actually trying to get into this, to understand the mindset of my clients. And that's how I actually was doing that naturally with the tools and with the skill set that was given to me back in time. And when I studied then to transition to UX, I added to this skill set. I learned way more about HCI. I learned way more about user psychology, about behavioral sciences, cognitive sciences. And that's when I realized that it actually adds up very well to my background. And when you put all that together, you're not starting from scratch, you're not starting from zero, but you have covered the foundational basis that you need to, and you enhance your skill set, your existing skill set with that.
Right. I think that was a perfect approach also, because Many times we have seen, people, they say, oh, I'm from a totally a sales background, or I'm from a finance background, how I can do UX. So as you correctly said, you are already doing, because the hospitality
Mm-hmm.
tele, I think you talk with that, I think 100 different peoples, I think from different age groups, different kind of even they may react some differently also. Some are happy
Mm-hmm.
customers there, some are aggressive customers. I think, and user research, this is quite interesting for you also. And so in that aspects, it is okay that you started as a researcher and you like that subject, but when you come to do actual real project, okay,
Mm-hmm.
because anyways, end of the day, you have to develop one software or it is one product. So IT sector is expectations, your boss's expectations. They may talk a lot of technology, agile, or Android,
Mm-hmm.
Apple, lot of cloud, everything they on on floor we talk something differently. So how you keep that balance? So whether you should learn these things, the technology front, whether should I spend my time to go back and start learning some basic coding, or it is not required at all. So what you tell about that? Who's they
Mm-hmm.
are, because still
So
that kind of questions
yeah,
we do get from the they are
of
people who
course.
are interact in this.
Yeah. I would say, well, it will depend, of course, where you're located, what's the market and the expectations, but I don't think we have so much difference. The thing is that when you're working in the business side in UX research, which is my case, even in UX design, you're really sitting in the middle of users, business, and technology. So you need to have enough, let's say, curiosity and being hungry to learn about this. But that means about the technology used in this sector, about the field where you're working. It could be medicine, it could be real estate. That's my case, for instance. It could be finance, it could be whatever. But you're gonna have to have some interest to deep dive into this and to understand the reality of the market. Who are the users you're designing or researching for? How is the market segmented? Which technology do you have? What is available to you? How can you solve problems? So this foundational willingness to learn and to expand your knowledge to the business side is essential to success. For me, it's like you must be willing to do that. You can't work in isolation. As a UX researcher, you're in the middle and you have this absolutely unique space where you can actually be the connection between all groups. Um, that's something very essential to me. And I think you might not have to go as deep as to learn coding, but you will want to understand what is the reality of the developers. And yet again, this is your talent as a UXer. Empathize. And empathize doesn't mean that you only think of users, but also you learn how to work with people in your team. Like a product team is an agglomeration of many different skills. Try to understand how they work and adapt to them and integrate them in your process as much as they integrate you in their process. So that's my approach to UX research.
I think, uh, but coming to next process, no. So while actually practicing user research, um, suppose I'm going facing some interview and I want to be. So what do you think? What how I can build my this profile? So as I can convince to all my stakeholders, I'm a good researcher. So here, what is your take for that?
Towards to stakeholders, you mean?
Yeah, for in generally, how you build your profile for as a researcher. So
Mm-hmm. So I personally am very much in favor of establishing a space in the company where you're going to be the connection between the business and the users. So I work very close to the stakeholders and I try really to understand what are their motivation, what are their needs. You know, I handle my stakeholders like users. I literally do my research with them, which means I will run a series of interviews, stakeholders interviews. I will try to get to know their motivation, their goals. Like for me, UX research doesn't leave separated from the business strategy, because with my findings, with my insights, I can feed the strategy. And when I know what the business strategy is about and what they are trying to reach, I can help them reach those goals with the proper insights. So it's about aligning a lot. So the way I confine myself internally is more as a facilitator, if you want. I go to them and tell them, look, I have insights that can help you be more successful at your job, but I need you to help me understand also, what are you working on? What are you doing? I need to deep dive into the topic, into the subject, and become very familiar with your process, with your job, with your day-to-day business, so that I can really literally learn it, take it with me when I talk to users. So it's this ability to have this two-sided knowledge and understanding, internal and also external.
Right. I think that that's so connected question is here. See, as a UX practitioner, and I'm working in a service sector, so it is chances that my every project will come from a different domains. Okay, maybe I'm working with a one project which is from pharma, and suddenly my next project will come from, say, real estate. So, as a researcher, how you prepare yourself for these transitions? So whether you go and you learn or you wait for someone to tell you that, oh, from tomorrow you have this project. So how you prepared for that? Because nowadays I have seen this problem with researcher. Uh, uh, they expect client will tell everybody and then we will start research. So I don't think that is a correct approach. But what is your take that, how you prepare yourself for a new project, which you, how you start basically?
In a new project, I tend to want to know who are the stakeholders in the project. And then when I mean stakeholders, I mean the one that are directly in charge of taking decisions, because those will be the people I need to present my insights in order to move the needle. So it's really important to know who can take decisions in here. That's really, really essential, because you want to convince these people. So those are the ones you need to align with. But also, do you have a whole lot of contributors who might not take decisions, but which work will be essential to the success of the project? So that could be a PM or a PO, that could be a developer too. That could be the technical side of it. If you're working on an app that is highly technical, you need to know what could be constraints. So I'm first trying to get a very good understanding of who I'm working with and what I'm working on. And while you can't always get a deep understanding of every project before starting, it's about being very open and trying to grasp as much as you can. I find it easier when you talk to people, you get a kickoff, you get people to share with you in a systematic way. So I developed for myself a form of a mini process. Like if I start a new project, I just knock a few doors, go to the people that are essential, I get an overview of the project. And sometimes, often, there are data you can grasp from somewhere. It could be previous research that has been done, it could be analytics. I just try to feed myself on this data and to understand a bit, what am I trying to solve in here? What I'm trying to research? And that's essential, that you actually find out what is the problem you're trying to solve or to discover before you move on with any activity.
Right. I think that is correct. What you are saying. I hope audience, they are starting their career. They will lot of takeaways. What you are saying is, it is perfectly. I think I hope they understand what is the importance of research itself. Okay. So yeah, I have now a couple of last 2-3 questions. So I'm just audience. If you have any questions, please start putting on Zoom chat. So I will take those questions after. So now, how it takes no how what is the future about research? So what is how you guide basically for the new talent which is coming, because they are very sharp, they are very futuristic. I have seen very aggressive young talents. I like to work with young talent rather than who says I have 20 years of experience, rather than I will spend much time with young people because they don't have a technology fear. So what is your advice for such people? Because they are lots of adrenaline is going on and they are want to rush on the project. I know what is future about all this research and everything.
So first, I'm fundamentally optimistic. So I say that the future is bright. Research is essential. If there is something we've learned with the pandemic, is really that what we businesses believe to know is no more. We don't know really what could be the future, and something as simple as a virus could change totally the way we work, we address our customers, the way they consume, their expectations, their frustrations, their fears. So research is essential in this world that moves so fast. So first of all, if you embrace this career, make it knowing that you have a place, that this is essential, you're doing something that will be demanded. But my learning, and I know it's very difficult to do when you transition, is take the steps you need to take to get there, because you can't rush through. This is a process. This is literally a process to transition, and getting there takes time. But be sure to prepare the foundations, to really learn what you need to learn, and to have a plan of what you will learn and be realistic about that. And I have been in the place where I could interview people, and what's important to me is really to hear an authentic answer. I'd rather hear someone who tells me, look, at in the beginning of my journey, and I can bring you these and these and that, and I'm building up and these and that, and then someone who over promises or tries to fit in the way you feel there is no foundations. So take your time, be realistic, be ready for a lifelong learning. We never stop learning, and that's the beauty of this profession. I would say is that you're never done learning. There is so much uncovered about the human brain, so there will always be something to learn. Fortunately, you will be able to learn from your peers. The UX community is incredibly open and nice and welcoming, so you will always have a way to learn. Take your time, take the right approach to it, and make sure to cover your foundations, to cover the basics, and connect with the right people to build up, really to learn from your peers, from people who have been there before, who have been there for so many years, that they have this experience, they have this knowledge, and go step by step to build up. Enjoy the process, deep dive into the process, allow yourself to fail and to learn out of it. That's also really important. I mean, we all make mistakes, we all learn from this. So it's really learning by doing. Tackle projects, make your own research portfolio, create for yourself projects where you can really learn, explore methodologies, and see what works best, and learn and repeat. And that's the way you really perfection your skill set. So that's really my approach. Go with for a marathon. It's not a sprint. It will take you time, but you will get there.
Right. Yeah, I think that is correct approach, because while learning, if I failure, that doesn't mean that I'm failed for entire life. Each failure
Exactly.
will teach you, and that is, and you talk about correctly about even portfolios also, because you should be have uniqueness in portfolio also, because right now whenever
Yeah.
we see CVs and portfolios, Dribble, Behance, it is like all are copy pasting. So I don't find any uniqueness even the representations also. So that is, I think, correct. You pinpoint that you also, portfolio. It is not about learning process, but how you present to your audience.
Yes.
Yeah. Now coming back now on your own community, that is user wizard. What is like, how you started this, and now you are there, how people are responding, and how you are taking UX, and what kind of activities you do, like on that front.
Mhm.
Maybe some of audience may be interested in these activities.
Sure.
But
Absolutely.
you have in background, you have say ask me anything. So, so if that kind of a wizard is there, then definitely audience should take a help of this wizard. Yeah.
Sure. So User Wizard is a community first. As I mentioned before, we have over 20 mentors and advisors working together from very different backgrounds. We try to cover every aspect of UX, from interaction design to prototyping, UI, UX design, research, writing, project, CX. So we try to have actors in every single field to have the possibility to offer you a very dedicated mentoring. So you have two possibilities. You have the one-to-one mentoring hour or the program. And the program is based on 4 milestones, which are assess, learn, practice, and apply. And this is the framework I talked to you about. This is the framework I apply to myself. That's what has proven to be useful to many other people since we started. And it's literally about starting by defining your skills, like your unique skill sets, defining where you stand. What do you know? What do you need to learn? What can you improve? What can you build up upon? What are you missing for essential skills? And once you know that, you're already starting halfway there because you know where you need to put your effort. And then the learning process is not like you're going to learn the foundations of UX solely with us. We're here to help you, to facilitate this, which means that we will, for instance, have a study group where you can come with the projects you're working on and you're going to get feedback on that. We will help you find the right learning path for you. In the practice project, we work on projects. I work with a series of people, or you can bring your own project, but you're gonna get mentoring around your project, helping you improve, choose the right methodology, really guide you on your practice. And we will help you develop your research or design portfolio accordingly. And the apply part of it is all about employability. Like, how do you pitch your portfolio? How do you present your CV? How do you introduce yourself? How do you do a whiteboard challenge? How do you actually address your interviewer during a job interview? So those are essential skills which are not only essential to any job, but particularly when you switch career like this, you know perfectly the drill of your current career, but you might not know how it works in UX and what are the expectations. So this is about the program, but we also have a series of of events that are perfectly free that you can join. We have AMA sessions, we have fireside talks like we have today, and we have masterclasses regularly where I invite people who are experts in something to present one topic. And these masterclasses are usually 1 to 2 hours, and you leave with some foundational knowledge in one specific topic.
Great. So yeah, we have one question. Niram is asking, for a fresher who have no past work experience in any field, what guidance you would like to do? And basically, that person want to start career in the UX field.
Well, first, welcome. That's great that you already identified UX as the field you like to go in. If you don't have previous experience, I would say the assessment will not be based on your professional skills, but maybe on your personal skills and abilities, and also trying to develop a sensitivity for what fits you best. Is it design? Is it research? Is it writing? Is it project management? Why? You need to find out what could be the best for you. And in any case, as for anybody else, I personally always recommend to start with the basics. HCI is a great start in there because it helps you understand the basics of human-computer interactions or interaction design, or get a good foundational grasp at it. And then you will be able to soon realize what fits you best. Because once again, I specialize in research, but before that, I did some prototyping, I did some design. I realized I know how it works. I have a foundational understanding of that. And then I developed my skills into research. So I think getting a good base is never wrong. It's actually the right thing to do. And then move forward where you feel that you have maybe best abilities.
Great. Please, if you have questions, please, we have a couple of minutes. I have one question because let's wait other. You can please put question in a chat box. So, as a mentor, you do a lot of mentoring also. What is your overall feeling about where we are taking this UX field? Where we are taking as a mentor, where we are taking field as a UX field, because because a lot of expectations people have from a UX field, because it is not like that we use UX only in our IT sector. It is like everywhere, as you correctly mentioned. Everyone should start with HCI. That is the fundamental of human factors. So it is like so. What do you think about overall, not only about research, but UX itself, where as an industry, where we are going?
That's really interesting. Honestly, since I transitioned to UX, I realized that it has evolved in something that is both a blessing and maybe our most difficult future. UX, when I started, you had, at least here where I live, you had every 6 months maybe a job offer for a researcher, dedicated researcher. So it was quite rare, quite niche still. It was a lot about UX design, if any design UX role. And suddenly it exploded. Like you have UX researchers, you have UX designers roles, you have UX writers roles. But you also have a whole lot of UX, UI, and whatsoever, so unicorn role out there. It makes it extremely difficult for people who enter the field to navigate this. And that's why I say it's not only a blessing, and it's also with the explosion of possibilities to learn UX, it makes it incredibly difficult to find your path and to understand or to distinguish the good from the bad. And therefore, I think mentoring programs and having sounded like proved resources is essential, because you can very easily get swayed into something that promises you to become a designer or a researcher in a matter of months. And what it actually does is that it scratches the surface, it teaches you a little bit of this and a little bit of that. And you end up being a generalist with a little bit of knowledge of everything, but not really good knowledge of something. And that, I find it difficult. Because when I started at the very least, I knew that I had to take the time to do that. And I had few but good resources. And now there is a lot of resources, but you don't know what to choose. This being said, I am an optimistic person, and I do believe that UX becomes something companies recognize, which is positive, which is good. Yet the maturity is not there everywhere. And that's something we have to work towards by by communicating on our methods, by literally systematically calling on people who are misunderstanding or misguiding and saying, okay, look, this is not the role you're asking for. Those are three different roles. So this is, you won't find a candidate for that because it doesn't exist. Or typically trying to, when I say evangelize, I mean really trying to explain and I wouldn't say teach, but maybe it is like really try to sensitize people to what UX is and what is it not. And that's something I'm trying to do in my little scope. And that's what I'm also trying to do in user research. The future is bright, but you need to be very critical. You need to be very, very, very careful with what you pick for a program and how you want to get there.
Yeah, we have a very specific question, but that question Amol is asking, what are user methods you use in a user experience research? I think that for explain this we need an entire one session, but research methods, you can just quickly. I know it is entirely a big topic altogether. So, but yes. So, what is your approach on methods? Like, so you go for textbook way or how, right? Or you build your own method, right?
To explain to stakeholders or to get stakeholders to understand the value of UX?
Yeah, in general, I think question was about user experience research. So I think any project wise, if you know what kind of methods you follow, that was I think question.
Which methods do I
Yeah.
use in my projects? Okay. I kind of specialize in qualitative user research these days. So I have implemented in the company where I am, I have implemented a bi-weekly testing day, during which I run usability testing every other week with a bunch of people in order to get regular feedback. I also run a lot of interviews, stakeholder interviews. I have run a few diary studies, but I will deep dive into also quantitative data. It can be with analytics, it can be through surveys. In fact, the method is not as important as the outcome. And it is essential for you to master a few foundational methods. The reality of the field is that you might not have the chance to do a whole lot of them, but you need to be able to pick the right method for the right outcome. So the real ability of a UX researcher is to have a skill set or a tool set, if you want so, in terms of method, and to be able to say, okay, for this problematic and this outcome, I need this method. For these, I need that. And to be able to navigate this method and to always pick the right method for the right outcome. So there are a few foundational methods that you should be able to, I guess, as a starter to have, which are running interviews, running usability tests, obviously having an expert review. Ergonomics should be the heuristics, UX 101. You must be able to run a heuristic evaluation. You will build up on the rest. Right. You will literally learn, to perform and to perfect every single other method.
Right. I think case-to-case basis. So I think as per situation, we have to update, modify this method. We have one interesting question by Parimal. So he's talking about, in India, a lot of startups nowadays are coming, and a lot of entrepreneurs start to build with ideas, and so many times the stakeholders, if I understood correctly, Parimal, I'm just giving a question background, creating background about how Indian basically startups and everything, because these entrepreneurs, they come from various different mindsets. The problem is here is not about knowledge, or problem is not about what we are bringing as a UX. Problem is mostly to convince a stakeholder, okay, I want to do a UX process, or whether you need a UX process. So I think question is on that. So how to deal with such situations? How do you convince these such stakeholders uh, to even tell them, okay, for your product you need a UX research? So maybe you also have faced similar stakeholders. So
Oh, we all do. We all do. That's the
yeah,
reality of the field.
yeah,
Look, I think I always use the same analogy for that. When you build a house, you hire an architect and maybe a few experts in the field of buildings. But in fact, as a client, you have an outcome, which is, I want my house built. And maybe it's the architect, or maybe it's another company who will come and tell you, I need a plumber, I need these, I need these, I need these, I need these experts in there. But you will not ask them what process they follow. And honestly, you might not want to hear this process. What you want to hear is what he can give you instead, that you will have your house built, and that your house will withstand any climate change, and that's exactly what your stakeholder wants to hear. Honestly, your process is your ability to do a correct work. But what your stakeholders needs to hear and to understand is that, look, I'm an expert in this field. I'm gonna help you build a product that's gonna be accessible, that can be enjoyable, that can be successful, that people will not only adopt, but love and promote. And I will do this because I will gather the right understanding of their needs, of their expectations, of their frustrations. And that's all what you need to know. I don't say that you need to work in your cubicle and just like to forget about communicating. Not at all. It's really essential to communicate and integrate people. But you need to understand that your stakeholder needs to feel confident. And people are not confident with things they don't understand. So it's a cultural problem. And that comes back to what I meant. UX exploded. All of a sudden, everyone knows they need a UXer, but they know what UX is about. So they say, help, we need a UXer because all the others, they do have a UXer. So if we don't have it, probably we won't succeed. And in that, they're probably right. But they don't know why they need it for, or what they need it for. And that's the essential problem. They want to hire the architect, but they don't know what for. So you need to bypass this somehow, and you need to sell them what they need to hear, which is like, I will give you what you need to be successful. And it's a trust process, right? So I will learn from you, what is your outcome? What is unique? What are you aiming at? And I will help you reach these. And I will help you reach these with grounded knowledge of the market.
right.
And maybe don't deep dive into your process, into needs and frustration, because they don't understand that. Talk about outcomes, about goals, about what their clients need, are looking for, why these companies succeeded by serving an actual problem, and explain that you're a translator. You translate what people expect into business opportunities.
Hello. Yeah.
Do you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think.
So yeah, the way I approach it is just turning my insights into feeding business opportunities.
I think hope Parimal, you have got your answer. I think yes, correctly, because many times yes, client doesn't know what is UX, so and they will not pay you for card sort. They will not pay for you create a affinity mapping. So they need a solution, and that thing we have to tell them. Yes, thanks. I think let's conclude now. It is already and Sunday you are giving us a time. So Yes, and as yesterday we were discussing about user wizard, and we can plan something so the Indian audience. So stay tuned for that. We are doing some building some activities so with me and user wizard. Let's see. Uh, we are hoping we are discussing on that front also. So maybe in future we can come up with program which is I think you also can say something about that, like so we are,
Absolutely. So, yeah, would love that. The idea is to join forces to offer something together that is useful to you guys, and to help you, well, master your process and methods.
great. So let's build more user-friendly UX communities. So nowadays, because of pandemic, good thing has happened that we can connect virtually anywhere. So it is a good one of our aspect that, and even UX talk I started during pandemic. That reason is that everyone is sitting at work from home, and somebody in some kind of a trauma and something. So I thought learning should not stop. That's why I started UX Talk, and hopefully, it is giving today's also. We have very interesting, quite great discussion. I hope participants, audience, have a lot of takeaways. What you are telling, I hope they get learn a few things. So yes, thanks, Mary, once again for your you take out Sunday time for us, and hopefully we will announce some activities future what we do, and uh, so yeah, so let's stop today. Uh, so thanks everybody for joining. I will put this recording soon on our UX Talk channel. So I think there are some people are not able to join or whatever. So I think Mary has given wide thought things for even lot of questions and what a lot of answers are there. So yeah, thanks everybody. So we have a next UX talk on 19 February. So speaker is Nadia. It is again a very unique topic. It is not a core learning subject, but it is about how you get jobs in the UX. So it is very different, totally a different approach we are going to discuss. So once again, thanks. Thanks for time. Uh, hope everyone enjoyed today's UX talk.
Thank you very much for having me, and thanks everyone for joining.
Thanks. Bye. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.